What's up, guys? It's Russo and Jordy with Backdoor Fantasy Sports. So sorry we're getting this video out to you late. This is going to be a different type of episode. Jordy's here with me, but we had all sorts of stuff going on with our schedule today, and I thought I was going to have to do this solo. And right as I was getting ready to film, Jordy hit me up, and he was available, but I already had the picks ready to go and the breakdowns. So instead of me doing my normal solo, Jordy's here with me, but I'm just going to put out 4 picks for you.
I'm just here in spirit, basically. I had something come up with family stuff, so I had to kind of unfortunately be late today. So I didn't want to just throw out some willy-nilly picks for you guys. So I'm just kind of here filming it for Russo. But he's got some fire picks for you guys that I really, really like, and I'll be playing tonight as well. So I'm just kind of here as the camera guy today for old Russo and his
yeah, well, and it's just when I do the solo episodes, it's like the production value is way down and it takes me way longer, which I'll work on optimizing that in the future, but I haven't tried to optimize it yet. So but let's get right into it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're going to be talking about Monday Night Football, Chiefs versus the Saints. And give us a like if you guys don't mind. If you appreciate the show, just really helps support the channel, gets us in front of a larger audience. If you have any fantasy football questions, any prop questions, just drop them in the comments. We get back to everybody. So yeah, feel free to leave us a comment if you have any questions about anything. Before we, let me tell you the picks real fast. So I'm going to be going with all 4 of these picks on Prize Picks and Underdog. So I like Alvin Kamara over Fantasy Score. These are actually all Fantasy Score picks, and it's not me being lazy. I actually want everything attached to these players tonight. But I like Alvin Kamara over 17.5 Fantasy Score on Prize Picks. It's a little bit lower. All of these are a little bit lower on Underdog. Just because it's half PPR on Underdog and it's full PPR on Prize Picks. So Alvin Kamara over 17.5 Fantasy Score, Rashid Shaheed over 10 Fantasy Score, Kareem Hunt over 10.5 Fantasy Score, and Travis Kelce over 14.5 Fantasy Score. That's what we're going to be rolling with. If you guys haven't signed up for Underdog yet, use code BACKDOOR, and they're going to give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash, and they're going to give you a free pick. This is also Boosttober, so they're giving every member, whether you're new or old, like just free boosts to add to your slips every single day. And if I know Underdog, they're going to be dropping other sorts of specials throughout the month as well. But yeah, code BACKDOOR or go through the link in the description. And yeah, and I'm just going to mention Sleeper as well. Sleeper we've partnered up with. So if you guys want to jump on Sleeper picks, you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. They're running alt lines and discounts and stuff. And so Sleeper is awesome because if you're playing fantasy football on their app, which is the only app to play fantasy football on, in my opinion, you can just jump right over and make slips while you're setting your own lineup. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, and then I'll just mention it now, Chalkboard, another partner of ours. We love Chalkboard. They're the king of alt lines, plays as low as $1, and you can adjust all of your plays essentially. So, you know, the higher you make a line, the higher your multiplier will be. And then the same, if you lower it, the lower your multiplier will be, but they run like 6 specials a day. Just use code BACKDOOR and they'll give you a 100% deposit match up to $100 and a free pick to help you cash your first slip. And that covers all of our partners for now. So let's break into these plays. Before we do, we're going to talk just briefly about our Sunday slip. We went 4 of 6. That should have been a 6 of 6. It didn't make sense. Like, to me, like both plays that didn't hit didn't make any sense to me. Justice Hill in a game where the game line ended up being 71 points.
Yeah, crazy.
You know, and the Ravens just went really pass heavy right out of the gates. And I wasn't expecting that. I mean, Derrick Henry, if you took his rushing yards, you're lucky we went to overtime because he had like 30 rushing yards, you know, throughout the game, and then broke off that big play at the end in overtime. And then also Deontay Johnson, a game where they're down by like multiple touchdowns in the first half, and Andy Dalton throws the ball like 28 times total. That should have been up in the 40s, in my opinion. And Deontay ending with 6 targets is just unacceptable. I know they had him rattled and stuff, but and the Panthers defense looked like trash too. But not that we expect them to be great. But anyways, sorry we didn't cash that one, guys. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, by all means, that one should have been easy. But we were off to a great start, but yeah, Deontay not only hurt me in the video, but he also cost me the W against Russo over here. So
as long as Groupie doesn't go for like 25 points tonight,
we'll see. I was hoping CD could get a little bit closer, but man, that was a great Cowboys game. How about them Cowboys?
It was. Rico Dowdle continuing to take over that role. I love to see it.
Yep.
But all right, so yeah, that's a little bit of talk about our Dynasty League. We're in a really competitive Dynasty League, and we both faced each other in the championship last year, and I shouldn't have even been there. I was just like, I had like a patched together team because I didn't think I was going to make a run, so I started tanking a little bit, like not tanking, but planning on trying to get a better draft pick, and then all of a sudden I'm in the playoffs, and I had Joe Flacco taking me all the way to the bowl. But anyways, so yeah, I was 1-3 in this league, so I really need to win this week. So really hope Groupie doesn't go for like 25 points tonight. But okay, let's get into these plays. And I'm gonna get into them, I promise. But how about Brian Thomas Jr.? I told you guys, like 57.5. So like he did that in 2 plays. He had a beautiful game. I'm so stoked. I've got him in Dynasty. So, all right, let's start with Alvin Kamara. Do I have him up over here? Okay, cool. So I really like this play, especially with Taysom Hill out in this game. Let me just double check that. I believe he is, but yeah, he's out tonight. The reason that's important is because last week he vultured 2 touchdowns from Kamara. So Kamara would have had an even bigger game than he did. But Kamara's just been on fire, and I like this. I like this play a lot here. So let's take a look. He's got a really juicy matchup with receiving yards in particular. Let's see, overall 22nd in receiving yards allowed. Now to running backs, it's a little bit of a different story, but the reason that's lower for running backs receiving yards allowed is because not everyone they play each week is Alvin Kamara, who is basically like a wide receiver out there. So it's going to be tough against the run, 2nd in rushing yards allowed, 14th in receiving yards allowed. But I really expect him to get it done, especially if we get some goal line looks. He's going to have all of the carries inside the 5. So I'm loving this. He's exceeded 104.5 rushing and receiving yards in 4 of his last 5 games. We know what the Saints have been doing. We don't need to overthink this one. I want the fantasy score because I think he's going to get into the end zone at least once. Full PPR on Prize Picks. So I think they have his receptions line at like 4.5 or 5. So Vegas is expecting him to like have a good chance of catching the ball at least 5 times. That's 5 points automatically in full PPR. So I'm not afraid of this line at all of, I believe it's at 17.5, because they're not going to win this game without Kamara having a great game. And we also have Chris Olave, who was on my radar for this matchup. He's had 2 full practices, but he's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring. And if we want to not like deal with a situation similar to Nico Collins, we know like a hamstring can just take someone out of the game. So I hope Chris Olave is totally good to go tonight, and he's had 2 full practices, so he should be good to go. But it just kind of deterred me a little bit away from taking his line there. So yeah, Kamara we're feeling good about. If we hop over here to the Daily Grind DFS Optimizer, they've got this favor to go over, 50.99% odds to hit the over. And then we see, BetMGM has this up at 18 already. Caesars has it at 18.1. We're seeing 18.5. So 17.5, we'll take it. So yeah, we'll keep it rolling here. Rashid Shaheed, this dude that the week I took him against Philly, he had a bunch of targets. He just happened to not catch the ball. But other than that, the dude's been on fire. And I think that's just like a random one-off. He's got a pretty decent matchup here. 22nd in receiving yards allowed, like we talked about, specifically to wide receivers. It says 4th, but I think that's because Outlier goes specifically to his position. but I like him to get this done. I think that this is going to be actually a pretty high scoring game. We got a 43-point over under. Chiefs favored by 5.5. We're playing in Kansas City, and I double checked the weather. It's supposed to be in the low 70s, good to go. No worry about storms or anything like that. So I actually think that this is going to be pretty solid. And then also we've got that situation like we had just talked about with Chris Olave. So I don't know, I'm not saying he's not gonna play well tonight or anything, but hamstrings are tricky. They tend to linger. So and I hope not, because Chris Olave has been having sort of a coming out party. Like, he's been just killing it lately, living up to those expectations we set for him when he first came into the league. So yeah, I like this a lot. He actually dominated on targets last week, Rashid. 11 targets against Atlanta. Atlanta's actually got a pretty solid defense. So 11 targets, leading the team in targets. And then he pulled down 8 receptions. And then what did he end up doing on yards? 83 yards. And the thing about Shaheed is he's the type of player who can just he's a big play guy, but he's so much more than that. Like, we know that he's a speedster who can catch the ball well, but he's also very versatile. So they're moving him around the field more now and getting him involved, not just as the deep ball threat. So, man, I can't wait for this game. All right, let's take a look at the optimizer for this one. Rashid Shaheed, they've got his fantasy score favored to go over as well. And the dude is kind of like Brian Thomas in the sense that we talked about Brian Thomas averaging around 20 yards per reception. That's what Shaheed's been averaging as well. So a couple of catches can really stack up the yards quick. But the optimizer has this favor to go over, 50.42% odds to hit the over. And everyone's kind of keeping this right around that 10 mark. But yeah, 1 touchdown, which he's actually pretty good in the red zone. The Chiefs are tough in the red zone, but 1 touchdown, if he happens to get that, this is going to be cash all day. Okay, Kareem Hunt. I like this play a lot. I think he's going to have to be a part of what they're doing. We know with Rashid Rice out, they're really banged up with the wide receivers. And then Kareem, he, in his first full game against the Chargers, he went for exactly 10.5, and he didn't have any touchdowns attached to that. So as far as the matchup here, 8th in rushing yards allowed and 20th in receiving yards allowed, specifically to running backs, and then overall 25th in receiving yards allowed. So I think he's going to be able to get this done. He's actually, he played his first game and they already had given him some rush. I think he got maybe 1 rush attempt in the red zone. But yeah, I mean, there's just not a whole lot for them to work with right now. But 14 attempts last week. I think he had 3 targets. So I think that was just his introduction as the running back, but I think that we're going to see him get even more of a bell cow role in this game tonight. And I believe it'll be his first game back in Kansas City, the team that drafted him. So I think that he's going to be super hyped to have a great outing. So I think this 10.5 line is just too low, especially someone who is actually a pretty good pass catcher. So going to be taking that for more. If we hop over to the optimizer, they've got this as the best play on Prize Picks for Kareem Hunt, 51.81% odds to hit the over. And then you can see everyone else has already bumped this up to 11.5, which I would still take. So if this is moved by the time you're viewing this, since we're a little bit late, I'm still comfortable with this at 11.5. But go with your gut. If you don't like any of these, just fade it. And then our last play is going to be Travis Kelce. I'll talk a little bit about Xavier Worthy, who I also do like tonight. But Kelce, it's time. It's time for him to get back after it. Especially he's the best archetype to fill that Rashid Rice role, because Rashid Rice was essentially playing Travis Kelce's role. So I think we get back to business here. They don't really have any other choices in this situation. Last week, Rashid didn't play that many snaps. I think he played 7 snaps in that game, and then he got knocked out by Mahomes. But we saw Kelce go for 9 targets, pulled down 7 receptions, and then had a pretty decent outing, 89 yards. So this matchup is great too. Receiving yards allowed, 27th in receiving yards allowed to tight ends. And then 25th overall. So there's like a little bit of a soft spot there where hopefully Travis Kelce will be taking advantage of the middle of the field. And Mahomes, obviously they have the great rapport over the years. And then I want to just talk about this target share here. Even before Rashid went out, he was second on the team, obviously, 18.4% of targets. Rashid has 29 targets on the season, and Kelce has 21. Obviously, that was boosted up by last week's 9 targets. But if we talk specifically red zone, Kelce is second on the team. He's pretty much tied with Juju Smith-Schuster. They're not like passing the ball a ton in the red zone, but he's right up here in the mix. And you can see Rashid only had 2 targets on the season as well in the red zone. So I think it's going to be Kareem Hunt or it's going to be Travis Kelce. But I think in Kansas City in prime time with all these weapons gone, it's going to be a Travis Kelce like resurgence is what I'm expecting. And then if we take a look at this note from Sleeper, Sleeper thinks the same thing. They say Travis Kelce to be top target this week. So feeling great about that. If we hop over to the optimizer, this is where it gets a little bit very much disagree. They've got this heavily favored to go under. So go with your gut. 55.44% odds to hit the under, minus 124. Okay. If you want to go in that direction, take the under, but I'm not going to be doing that. Last week he went for with Rashid out, he went for 15.9 fantasy points with no touchdowns on the board. So we're talking about full PPR here. If he gets 7 receptions again, we're halfway there just on receptions alone. If he, gets just somewhat of a repeat of last week, if he gets in the end zone, this is cash all day. So I'm feeling really good about it. If you guys do want to check out this DFS optimizer, it's a great tool. Just use code BACKDOOR at dgfantasy.com. You get 25% off for as long as you want to make your first subscription. Lock it in through NFL, through NBA, up to a year, as long as you want to lock in that 25%. It's well worth it. So definitely take advantage of that. There's a link in the description. If you guys want to check out our Discord, I don't have it pulled up right now. I apologize. Just let me pull this up real quick so I can do this right, because I want to show you guys how to properly get in here. Let's see. All right, Moose, our analyst Moose, had a bomb day yesterday. He went 7 of 7 different slips. He makes smaller slips than we do. It's kind of like between Moose, Jordy, and I, we cover everything, because Jordy's probably the most middle of the road. I'm kind of the YOLO guy. I got
middle of the road. Huh?
I'm saying middle of the road, not talent wise, but like Jordy will make these 4-mans, 6-mans, and then I got to calm myself down, because I have this little scheme going where I keep playing these demon plays. It's the long game, but I gotta chop it down a little bit. Moose is the 2-man maestro, just always posting 2-mans. Speaking of which, you can follow him on X. You can follow all of us on X. We post content on there as well, and Instagram. Go follow us on Instagram because we post stuff on there as well. So does Moose. Go follow him as well. But if you guys do want to join us, we have a killer community. All you have to do is go through the link in the description for Patreon. They manage our subscriptions. Once you sign up for Patreon, just go into the connected apps section of the menu bar, and then you can see there's a little spot here for you to connect your Discord account, and then it'll unlock our channel. Make sure if you do that you hop in the community chat. Let us know that you're new. And I'm just gonna see, I want to show you guys this real fast. If you don't follow Moose, yeah, look at the day he had. I told you, like, all 2-mans, but dude made 7 different 2-mans and they all cashed. So good for him. So yeah, that's gonna cover everything. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Shout out Jordy. Thanks for hopping on and being the producer today.
Heck yeah. I'm behind the controls today, baby.
Yeah, helping me knock this out. We can't wait, guys. Tomorrow's waiver wire day. We've got so much to talk about. So I can't wait to get into that episode. So make sure you're following us. We will be dropping our fantasy football waiver wire episode tomorrow. And I just can't wait to break down this Sunday slate because we have a lot to talk about. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry about the late drop. Good luck tonight. We'll catch you in the next video.
Good luck, guys.